welcome back to my channel. I do hope you're doing well. Well, today's Scandals with Shan is all about Fred and Rose West, because I don't know about you, my lovelies, has anyone seen the 4-part series that was on Netflix? It's kind of like a docu-series, people reenacting what happened, and let me just tell you, I thought I knew them from little bits that we'd read from the serial killer exhibition and bits and bobs along the way. That series, I don't want to spoil if you haven't seen it, gave a total different overview and actually made me question who was the more evil. That doesn't even make sense, but you predominantly would think the man, for example. That series, I feel they could have both been as bad as each other. I don't know if you've seen it, let me know your thoughts below, but I thought what better way, we've actually watched something this month that relates into a Scandals with Shan. Let's get your guys' ideas on Fred and Rose West. So my lovelies, it's the first time using the new camera in the Scandals with Shan setup, and I've got my little reading blanket, and where it's like 0.3 more zoomed in, don't get all of my bookcase in. Damn it, but that doesn't matter, we can make do. You can still see us. I mean, you can't see nothing that's up there, but hey ho, we will have to do. I'm feeling very naked today. Feeling very naked. I have been doing a deep clean, and for the life of me, I do not know where I've put my bracelets and my studs. Which is slightly annoying because I do feel like I'm missing a little bit of me. You know me, I've always got me 2 little rosary bead bracelets on, and always normally got me pearl studs, which it doesn't matter if I can't really find the pearl studs because I've been putting away my birthday bits, and I've got my studs, the freshwater ones that I was very kindly given, alongside the emerald ones that Mama G got me. So I was thinking I could have the emeralds and then the pearls. So it doesn't matter if I can't find them, but I need to find my blooming bracelets. However, before we get into Fred and Rose West, if you remember, I think it was back February when we went to the log cabin, Dada picked me up this book, Inside the Mind of Rose West, Wife, Mother, Monster. Now, looking back, if I'd have known we was going to be watching the series, I should have read this book this month. But I didn't. I feel this is going to be a couple of months down the line because I have actually already started my book for next month. I've been really getting into the swing of my reading, guys, and I can't wait to tell you about this month's book in monthly favourites. But this, Inside the Mind of, just behind my little guy covering it there, you might be able to see, I have Inside the Mind of Jeffrey Dahmer, which is a fabulous book. I also have Inside the Mind of John Gacy, Ted Bundy, and the Yorkshire Ripper, and now Rose West. So these are done from, with the Jeffrey Dahmer one, it was done by a guy called Christopher D. Berry, and it's almost as close to an autobiography style writing as you can get. If anyone else has read any of them, please do let me know. I've seen on Amazon there are 2 more coming out in October, but there is one that I don't know what happened to it. It was in my basket, ready for a pre-order, and it was Inside the Mind of Gary Ridgway. So all of the front covers have different colours. So Rose is like a pink purple, Dahmer's like an orangey yellow, Bundy is red, Yorkshire Ripper is orange, and John Gacy is blue. And this was green, and I'm sure it was Gary Ridgway, something like the Swamp Killer or something like that. And it was due to come out on a Friday, for example. I completely forgot, went to put it in my basket on Monday, and it said this title is no longer now being sold. I was like, huh? I have tried to get that book everywhere. I don't know if there was an error with publication, whether something within the book is not correct, but it has vanished from sale. So yeah, I haven't got my green one, but I do recommend the Inside the Minds of. So I definitely feel I'm going to be reading this. I think I've already got my one for this month, but if I finish it early, this could be like, I say a little light-hearted reading. It's not light-hearted, but it's not a huge book. However, it's done by Tanya Farber and Jeremy Daniels, so they are all done by different people, I believe. You've got Dharma was Christopher Berry D, I believe. Who was Gacy? Brad Hunt. So you see, like, they've all got their colour themes to them, which I can't lie, I absolutely love. And the two new ones, I believe, are like dark navies that they are. Not people that I've heard of. I think they're American serial killers, or I think one was a burglar to do with like a big diamond heist. But I'll read you the synopsis of this, because if anyone has read this as well, let me know, is it worth the read? As I say, Mum said that Dada had seen me mention it, and he was like, I'll pick it up for her, and Waterstones had it down to a tenner on a sale. What a bargain! So it says, wife, mother, monster. Rose West was, on the face of it, a typical mother living with her husband, Fred, and their children in a 3-storey terraced house in Gloucester. But behind the building's modest facade, 25 Cromwell Street was the scene of truly terrible crimes, an authentic house of horror. Inside the family home, the many young female victims lured there, and the couple's own children were subjected to horrific sexual violence and torture. It would take decades before the West's dark secrets were finally discovered, but do we know the full story of their depravity yet? 9 bodies were dug up from beneath their home, but how many victims were buried elsewhere? Fred confessed as a gift to Rose to having murdered on his own, but did he truly act alone? Or was Rose, in fact, the driving force in their folie à deux, their shared psychosis? Faber and Daniel get to the bottom of these and other questions, including how the killer couple's psychology and therapy relationship changed over time. I'm very, very much looking forward to this. It's a very small font. You know me, guys. I'm a stickler for font at the moment. But, yeah. From the series, as I say, definitely it makes you question, because it sounds horrible, but the majority of time when stuff like this happens, you think, oh, it's got to be the guy. It's got to be the guy who's like eluding her and everything like that. But I think it was a bit 50-50. And as I say, the series that we watched, it was only 4 episodes. There was about 15 minutes to an hour each episode. And it really did delve in, and you almost saw the turn of events when she kind of got brought into it. And I believe she is the only survivor. I think Fred West has died. Well, we know how he died. And then Ian Brady and Myra Hindley I did also. But I think from what I've seen, because there was something when the Netflix series come out about one of her sons who has also been convicted of not nice antics, let's just say. And he said, like, she was in a room on her own. She's not really doing it. I do apologise for rubbing my nose. Hay fever. Killing me. That's why I keep swallowing, because I feel like I have something there. But trust me, guys, I done a big old sneeze of my nose, a blow of my nose before this, but now it's just itchy. And I feel like I still have stuff here, and I don't, which is most annoying. So I do apologise. But anyway, enough of me ribbit-rabbiting, guys. You don't want to be listening to me all day, do you? Let's have a look. So, of course, as always, I ask you over on my Instagrams and obviously on emails. If you want to get involved, it all stays anonymous. Oh my God, I cannot believe it. Now the eyes have started getting itchy. Oh God, guys. Any hay fever sufferers out there this year that just think it's gone on absolute steroids. Like, legit, I don't know what's happening. But, as I say, I asked you over on my Instagram and emails. It all stays anonymous. And whether you want to get involved in Scandals with Shan, sit down, Q&As, Moments with Mama G, a good old mukbang, or sometimes I just fancy a little chit chat over there, stay tuned, because I will just pop up randomly. Or if you email me, I will put you in the little mailing system. Again, it all stays anonymous, and you get notified if you ever want to be a part of any of the discussions on this page. Now, Shannon Lee, you definitely have rabbited enough. Let's get in with what you guys think. So, one of my lovely says, have not watched the Netflix, but have read the book and watched the documentary. So also, I believe there are many, many books on these, like many books across various serial killers like we do, and various documentaries along the way. If there's any that stand out for you, please do let me know, especially if it's a book. We want to be building this collection, don't we, guys? From what I have seen, they were as bad as each other. How else could they have got away with so much? And their own children, as well as others, in my eyes they were and still are evil. Loads of love. Loads of love too. Yeah, the whole thing with their own children and the fact that it only really come about because the children would say, like, we'll end up like our sister under the floorboards. And I believe, from what I saw on the docu-series, that was when the school decided to get involved, and then it all unravelled. I don't want to give it away, but yeah, they didn't want to be like their sister who ended up under the floorboards. And along with that, I believe that they also abused their children, which is not nice to any degree, but I definitely feel you have to be warped some way to do that, and as you say, completely evil. And for one of the children, it was also deemed that Fred couldn't have had a part in it because he was actually in prison at the time. So I definitely do feel they were as bad as each other. Part of me wonders if once he brought her into that, she actually became worse than him. Let me know what you think on that, because yeah, not many normal women, if their partner said, oh, I'm into this, you'd be like, okay. Like, he used to pimp her out and prostitute her, basically. One of them was to her own father. And you know when you just think, nah, that's not right. And when we was watching it, I was like, really? Nah, can't be real. But obviously it was. And it fathoms your brain that someone could be like that. Honestly, it does, my lovelies. Hello was the one that got her into the killing. He was the one who got her into the killing, as I think they played mind games with someone. If they don't do it, they do something to her, and she was the one that had to befriend them to make it look like everything was good with them, pushing the thing she was a bully into it, as they killed their own daughter, which was bad too, but I don't think anyone has heard what was going on in their heads at the time of the killings. So that is a good point in terms of she was kind of like the safe player, which I feel from watching the Moira Hindley and Ian Brady, that was only a 2-part episode, it was definitely like you use a woman to lure other women and then they'll feel safe. You wouldn't get in a car with a man on his own, but if you saw a man with a woman, you might be more inclined. You might think, oh, it's okay, like nothing bad's going to happen, as opposed to getting in a car with a man on his own, talking like Ted Bundy style. However, probably the worst mistake, I would feel more fearful, I think, seeing a duo than a single, because there's an agenda there. If a man and a woman are just casually patrolling the streets at night, there is an agenda. Oh, be quiet. Sorry guys, belly's rumbling a little bit there. There is an agenda there. I don't care what you could say. Something is like not going right if that is how you spend your evenings. And unfortunately, because of the victims being so young, they might have thought it was safer along the lines with a woman in the car, thinking almost like a mum and a dad style, but that was probably as far from the truth as you could possibly get. And yeah, it was just very horrendous. We watched a Fred and Rose West years ago. I definitely think there's more to it, and at the start Fred was the mind, but then Rose got the taste of it and she became the mind. It was a very difficult watch, the series that I watched. Oh, you'll have to let me know what one you saw, as I say, because also I like to see people's adaptations of it. How they interpret certain things and vice versa, as to if they always play that Fred was the main person or it was Rose all along. And every different like producer, filmmaker, TV series, they will all document it with the facts, but they will put slight twists and interpretations left for you to make you think, was it, wasn't it? But yeah, I definitely feel like she got a taste for it, almost like the power. And I don't know, you might be thinking, I know I'll put my hand over it, but you might think, what on earth is that? all will be explained in the monthly favourites, but I actually just haven't taken it out from Rome. It's kind of just like a little stand for me now, but yeah, sorry, I just caught that in the viewfinder and thought you guys are probably thinking, what is that hanging out of her phone? Or you wasn't, and it's just me being like, oh, seeing what it is and being like, oh, I need to address that. One of my lovelies. Oh, hi, Shannon's sweetheart. Well, Fred and Rose West is a subject I've read an awful lot about. They were both very damaged, both mentally, physically and sexually, before they met. In fact, that their paths crossed is what the French called a folie à deux, which means madness of two or shared psychosis. That was what was on the book. Fred had a very unnatural relationship with his mother, aka sexual, as did Rose, who it's believed had sex with her father, who was a violent schizophrenic. So I heard that her father had abused her, but then when she became into prostitution, he also became a client. And Fred also started having relations with his mother from around 12 years old. So it wasn't really a great outset, let's just say. They were both depraved sexually, into lesbian sexual orgies. Rose entertained the men, aka prostitution, while Fred watched through a hole in the wall. Now they do show you a snippet of that within the series. And you know what, you just think, like, just put that into perspective. That's like this wall here having a hole cut out, and me being on the other side entertaining men, and Dan being the other side watching. No, wouldn't be happening in this household, my lovelies. All the walls, there's no holes in these walls, let me tell you that. Sadly, it went from bad to worse as they murdered their own daughter amongst over 6 of the other women that we know of. However, it could be more. Fred unalived himself in jail, and I believe Rose is still alive. Yes, yes, yes. So Fred actually never went to trial. He unalived himself, I think it was the day before the trial, where he'd spoke to his son previously, one of his children, and said that he would never disclose the severity of what they did. So everything that we hear, and however horrific as it is, there is still so much more apparently, because he said that he would take it all to the grave. He wouldn't disclose certain features as to what he had done, what he had said, and things they had done perhaps. But yeah, Rosie's still alive. As I say, I think she's teetering on. There's not a lot left of her, but how the book I read, what was it, Life Inside by Linda Calvey, she was actually inside with Rose West and Myra Hindley at various points through her incarceration. And you know, when you just think, how could you be in that same scenario as that? And from what I gathered, inside, she knew she was known, and I think she tried to like commandeer the wings. However, that didn't really go to plan. And likewise with Moira Hindley, from the series that we watched, she tried to turn to Christ, and she tried to like befriend people and give people gifts to make friends, and everyone knew who she was and what she was, and it was like, nope, outcasted. I believe that Moira Hindley died fairly young. Likewise with Ian Brady. As I say, Fred West unalived himself. He never went to trial. So Rose was the only one that could be persecuted for all of the crimes that had been done. So she took the full force of it, and yeah, she has been behind bars ever since. I believe she's had a few appeals that have been denied. I mean, of course they would be denied. But yeah, I mean, what could you say? I mean, you know, from the photos, it's very hard to imagine that she's considerably younger than what Fred West was. However, Fred clearly had a type of woman that he liked, and a style of women, let's just say. And she fit that hook, line and sinker. But wife, mother, monster, how? And people were so unaware of it. That was the thing. People were so unaware. How many chapters does this book have? Let me have a look. There's a lot of acknowledgements. Okay, so we've got a lot of bibliography. So there's a lot of things regarding other books and newspaper articles. Oh, and also videos. But let's have a look. We have in this book a real chapter themed 18. Okay, 18 chapters at 231 pages. Sorry, my lovelies, I actually don't know where I was. I was just rabbiting away and then I see it come up, change battery. I was like, damn it. But yes, it was definitely an interesting watch to say the least. And through her mannerisms, it also shows the levels where someone can be on par and then when they feel something's not going their way, gone. It was like they were complete strangers. And yeah, I think she's in her 80s. Shall we see how old she actually is? I mean, I don't like having this on my phone. Let's have a look. Rose West, straight up. English serial killer. She's 71 years old. She was born the 29th of November in 1953. And Fred West unalived himself in 1995. She has 10 counts of murder and sexual assault with a life imprisonment with a whole life order. Wow. It's just like, it does baffle me because you think how it went unnoticed for all of them years. For the women and the children that just went missing. I know that the technology and everything isn't as good as what we have now, but yeah, it's just, I'm so glad that technology and that has come such a far further way, because I don't think we should have anything like this in our lifetime again. I know there was one recently, an Oriental man has been charged. He assaulted and murdered men. And for that, it's the people you wouldn't expect. So as I say, to other people outside, they just look like a normal family doing their thing. Oh, that one of their children has gone missing. She's probably run away. La 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 la. No, she was buried under the floorboards. And that's what the kids used to say. And then ending it out, my lovelies, it just says, there is no words for evil, and they were the purest. They were pure evil. And as I say, it's just, I hope never in our lifetime we have to experience that again. I mean, not only did you have Ian Brady and Maureen Hindley with the Moors murders, again, that was a great 2-part series. That, I think, so who do you think is worse? Obviously, Fred and Rose West, they were predominantly young adults. They did murder their own child and they didn't do nice things. However, Ian and Myra, they was predominantly just children and youngsters, and obviously the famous one of the boy who was never found, Keith Bennett. And I believe his parents died a few years ago and they never knew where he was. Like, his remains are still out there. They've uncovered a few of which they was held accountable for. But for the others, and how do you know there's not tons of others again? That one, even though it was only 2 episodes, it was a harder watch because it was children. And it's kind of like, how? And from the angle that it's told, with it being from a family member of Moira's, you just think, how could you be like that with your family and then of an evening you're like that with your partner? It's all very, it's not nice, is it? It is not nice indeed. And as I say, touch wood, we're never going to see anything like the pair of them again. But my lovelies, I do hope you've enjoyed it. As I say, thank you very much for sending your bits and bobs in. I'm definitely going to make sure that next time I'll read the book and then we will do a Scandals with Shan on what I've read. I'm kind of going through my crime books at the moment. The bottom shelf is almost done. These are going to be big ones to go through. These ones I think I could read within a month. But these ones have everything from true crime stories, conspiracies, paranormal, occult, unsolved mysteries, you name it, it's on that shelf. But my lovelies, if you did enjoy that video, you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up and subscribe down below. And leave me a comment. What do you think of the West? Who do you think was worst out of Brady and Hindley and the West? And as I say, any books or documentaries that you've seen on them that you think I should give a go, leave them down below for me. But yes, take care, stay safe as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!